Yo, what's going on, boys? It's Big Large Man back with another review. Now, this one today, this is going to be a longer review, just so you guys know. And it's going to be the first longer review I've done since returning. I've been taking it easy, trying to do some of the easy figures, only a few accessories. But after a while, you got to come back and do the hard stuff. So, today, we have Mafex Venom. And I know it's been a long time since this figure came out, but the review I had done of him, I already did it a long time ago. The review I did, either it got deleted or it was in like 4 different parts and I couldn't get it together, so I just scrapped it. We just redoing it. So for the first part, we're going to bring in the box like usual, get this man out of here. I actually really do like a lot of these Mafex boxes. I think they have a good look to them. And especially, I think I even said it in the Carnage video, when you get more than one box like lined up on the shelf, I think they look really good. And that's a little thing, but I like the little things. I like when boxes match and figures look the same. It's the little things that matter. Alright, so bringing this man in for paint and sculpt, I think they did a very good job on the sculpt and paint of this guy. The head especially, I think this head, it kind of fits perfectly for that original first appearance McFarlane Venom. I think it's amazing. The rest of the body too, I think the detail is all nice. The sculpting is high. It's all good detail. The only problem I kind of have, and I'm not sure if it's going to show off to the camera with the paint, is that they did like a blue shading on his limbs, but not the mid-torso. So it looks like the whole rest of him is very nicely shaded, and then the torso is kind of left out to just be in a matte black, and I don't really like that. But I could get by it. Still, all looks really, really good. I think they made a perfect kind of McFarlane Venom, look-wise. The size, I know a lot of people say it, and it is true. It kind of sucks, but it kind of doesn't suck. I think it fits in pose-wise. Like if you have this figure posed doing something like thwipping around or flying around with Spider-Man, I think the scale really doesn't matter. But we will get to that when we do. Bringing him in for articulation. At the head here, he looks up that far. He can bury his chin into his chest. Perfect head articulation. He's got a little bit of a pivot. A nice swivel all around from the ball joints. The neck has a ball joint in it for even extra articulation up and down. At the arm here, it goes up more than 90. Very good articulation on this guy. Front, oof, a little crunchy, but he's got a butterfly joint that comes forward and back. Little cracky, little unused. Sure, also goes all the way around. There's a swivel at the bicep, a double jointed elbow, and then at the wrist, you have the usual stick and hinge that you can move around, get all the different movement you need. At the chest here, he has 2 ab joints. Sorry for a little close-up. He goes that far forward and very good back. I think they would need both forward and back good, but I think having more back helps a little bit with this Venom because he kind of has that standing pose. He's either really crunched forward or really back, and I think that the figure has the perfect articulation for that. The only thing though, the same as the Carnage, there's a lot of gappage in the figure, and in person it looks a lot worse because you can really see through it all. But it's just something you're going to have to think about when you're posing him so you don't have crazy gaps and make it look terrible. But at the legs here, the articulation on the legs was the worst for me. His hip joint on this right side, it really just wouldn't work. The leg kept falling off. It was all hinged, so it would, instead of moving, it would like stick. I don't remember what the word is for that. But I used a little bit of olive oil and I just loosened it up so it works well. And I had to do the exact same thing with my Carnage because the Carnage did have a locked up leg too. That is one thing I gotta remember to mention, is that Mafex isn't the best when it comes to quality control. And when you get a figure like this, like either this Venom, the Carnage even, you definitely have to spend a lot of time loosening it up and just preparing it so it doesn't break, because that would suck. But back to the articulation. The legs here, they move forward very well. They move back pretty decent. Kind of got that booty in the way. They move out to the side decently. I think this is still a big problem with a lot of Spider-Man or Spider-Man related figures, is the legs can't go out far enough, because Spider-Man, a lot of the characters do a lot of weird jumping and flying with the legs all the way up. Like all the way up and out to the side like this, flying in. And it's kind of sucks when the out range isn't that good. It kind of limits the poses. But it also has a swivel right here where it connects. A double jointed knee that works very nicely. And at the feet here, there's a hinge that goes up and down. The feet are a little loose, keep falling off. But there's a hinge that goes up and down. And then ankle pivot, very nice. And there's a toe joint too, for all those running / walking poses you're getting into. All right, moving this man to the back here. Ooh, ooh. Ooh. Gotta get him in more of a normal pose. There you go, normal pose. And now I gotta move him because I forgot. We're going into the accessories now. This character comes with so many accessories. I think that it is the real pushing point of it. You could do pretty much anything you want. So first, I just have the clamshell right here so I can make sure I go over all the accessories. But first we have the interchangeable head and neck of Eddie Brock. I think this is the best Eddie Brock head we have. And the only other one is, oh my god, it's the Marvel Legends Eddie Brock head. And we all know how that one turned out. But I do think this one looks very good. The sculpt is very good. And even the parts on the neck that have the goop look really good. The only problem with mine is every time I put it on, the neck gets stuck in the body and I have to assault it out. So what I've just done is I just take the head off the neck like that and I just put the head on instead of the whole neck, because the neck just does not work for me. For the other Venom heads, he comes with a closed mouth Venom head. And now I would have liked a tongue Venom, even though this really isn't that Venom. I would have liked that head, because then it just gives you a little bit more difference and posability with the figure, because you can put him as that Venom, Eddie Brock, everything. I still think the heads are very good though, and the fact that he comes with another head is great, just to give you that variety. So for some hands here, of course he comes with the fists. I think the hands are pretty good on this guy. He came with a nice variety, and they look very good. He came with the fists. He also has these kind of lethal protector hands, like the kind of grippy, half holding, more basic standing pose hands. He comes with the Venom claw hands, of course. A lot of these hands do look really good, and the paint is very good on them too. I think the white on the back looks very good on all of them. It's very clean. And I cannot get this to focus whatsoever. I apologize. So for this hand next, he has like a web gripping hand. It's a very tight, closed gripping hand. And this one, a lot of these hands are very stiff, and they're made like molded in 2 pieces and put together. So I don't know if it's a good idea to try and stretch them out, but if you do, just be very careful with them, like usual with these figures. For this next pair of hands, he has like some trigger finger hands. Maybe you want him shooting a gun, or like he did in the Maximum Carnage, you could use like the photon wave radar gun or whatever it is to kill Carnage. I'm glad he came with these two, because they're actually thinking about stuff like that. The kind of random Venom poses, like when he has a gun, when Venom has, like, you could make him even Agent Venom, maybe. You could customize it. They're giving you options. Ooh. Next hand is the magneted gripping hand, or open palm hand. The magnets on these work really good. Just recently put them on the fridge. The only problem is the Carnage one doesn't have the best magnets. So it's probably just figure by figure is how good they are. So if you put them on the fridge, be careful not to drop him, because the fridge is pretty high up. It'll break your figure. For the last interchangeable piece, we have another Venom foot, and it's the magneted foot, which, like I said, works very well. And it's very easy to interchange all these pieces, you know, just pull them off, plug it in. What you have to do again is put all the interchangeable pieces in hot water and then put them onto the peg, because the pegs on these hands, they scare me a little bit because they're very thin, and I'm not sure if they can take a lot of pressure because I have not been willing to try. All right, so finishing up the accessories here with the Mafex. He comes with 2 of each of these. He's got this open, more kind of thwipping or grabbing web, like if they grab it and swinging, you put this in the backhand, or you could even put it the way it's kind of flexible. It won't break, but it can kind of stretch. It will break. I think one of mine is broken. Don't remember which one, just forgot. Remember, they couldn't break. And it's not really bendy wire. It's more of a flexible plastic that'll kind of bend and mold. I think they're very good though, because I don't have the Spider-Man, and I'm not sure if he came with accessories with the Mafex or not, but these are the only decent ones I really have. So for the next one, it's you put this part around the wrist, you put the wrist through the hole, and you have it as the shooting the web. I think this one is really, really good, and this is probably one of the best Mafex, because I never even would have expected or thought about putting this little wind end on the piece to go around the forearm, and I think it looks really good. This is actually the one that's broken. You can see it right there. That little piece that's bent there, that's where it broke. So be very careful when you're putting it on the figure. If you have it on the figure and you're trying to move them around, posing them, make sure it's just very careful, because they are fragile and can get broken. So moving on now from the accessories, doing some comparisons with this man. To start it off, we'll go, let me clean this thing off a little bit, put this man up real nice. We'll start with other Mafex figures. So here is the Mafex Spider-Man. Ooh, if he can stand up. I'm just praying nobody falls in the void back there. That would suck. There we go. There's Spider-Man, and here is Carnage. Now, I don't think my Mafex Spider-Man is anywhere near the right height, because I know a lot of people say he's pretty much the same height as Venom, or even taller, which is not supposed to be true. But this one, they don't scale bad, him and the fake. And I know in my Carnage video, I said that the Venom scaled pretty good, and I still think the same. They do definitely look good if you pose them together. I just do think the Venom should be a little bit taller, because in the comic books, Venom is the tallest out of them, the biggest, the broadest. He's supposed to be huge, and he's not really here, compared to them at least. I think they sized the Venom wrong, but the other two are sized perfectly. So moving them out the way, and getting on to our next pair of Venom and Carnage. Here we have the Revoltech Venom and Carnage. These two do not stand up, but you can see the absolute scale of around this guy. I'm pretty sure, is Marvel Select supposed to be, I think they're 8-inch scale, and Mafex is 6-inch, I believe, or 7. So you can see these guys don't scale very well, except if you were going for like the Horde Carnage, the big leader one in Absolute Carnage. He would definitely fit well compared and scaled to this Venom too, because I think the way they designed the new Eddie Brock Venom in the modern comics is literally just his classic design again, and that is great. Compliments to the writers. All right, get these guys out of here. Just gonna put them over here so I don't have to stand them up. For our next list of comparisons, we have another group of figures. We have the Revoltech. Here's the Spider-Man. And then once again, I didn't get this Carnage out of the pose because I like it. See, I was even thinking about it, because I got the Spider-Man out of the pose for the comparisons, but I just couldn't do the Carnage. So here we have the Spider-Man and Carnage next to Venom. I think they both look very good next to him, and I think this Carnage is probably still our #1 Carnage, because the I keep messing up companies over here. They all sound too similar. The Mafex Carnage is very good for first appearance Carnage, and I think that only because he doesn't really have the tendril effects. he doesn't have, well, I'm getting a little off track here because now I'm talking about Carnage, but he doesn't really have the tendril effects or any of the accessories like that, or the amount of them, so I still think this is better. But back to the Venom. I think he scales very good, and I think this is the best pairing of Venom and Carnage, other than the fact that the Mafex one looks so like similar to him in a perfect fit. The Spider-Man, on the other hand, I personally like him, but I know a lot of people don't, so we'll move him out of the way. Now, like usual, I also forgot to say he comes with a stand. I always forget to say this in like every one of my videos, that these figures come with stands, but a lot of them do. The Mafex ones especially, they usually always come with a stand, and this guy does, and there it is. Forgot to add it earlier. Pretend this was accessories. Now, just for a couple of more random not reviews, but comparisons, we have Funtime Freddy here. And now, fun fact, don't tell anybody, but this right here is a sneak peek at my first review I'm gonna redo. He was my first FNAF review, and that video is so bad, it's unbelievable. So I'm planning on remaking this review for this Funtime Freddy and re-uploading it so it's not garbage. A little sneak peek. And the other comparison is got Ghost Rider over here. Why not? I think this just shows how he scales with random figures. You know, I usually like to say if you have a random display of just a bunch of random garbage. I do think this figure will fit great. I'm not sure if his price went up or not. I haven't bought this guy or even looked this guy up since I bought him years ago. But I still do believe he is a great figure. And if you can, if the prices aren't too high, definitely purchase him. Alright, let me get these mans out of here. Alright, for some final thoughts on this figure, I do gotta say it's an amazing figure. For a while, I started liking it, then I kind of didn't like it, and now I like it again. I think it all just depends on what other figures you got, how you're feeling about the character, or whatever. But I do really like this figure, and I give it a fat recommend if you can afford it, and if it hasn't gone up. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I gotta say it, I don't know how many people are even gonna stick this far, but I gotta say thank you guys so much for all the subscribers and all the everything we're getting. The channel is literally blowing up. It's unbelievable. I'm not even, is it even real? I don't know. Can Venom believe it? No, I can't. But alright, thank you guys so much. Keep doing what you're doing, and have a good one.